The World Cup starts today, and I'll be honest, I'm not quite as excited as last time. You see, last time Wales were in the World Cup, the first and so far only time in my lifetime I could actually say I'll be watching Wales in a World Cup. And I did go to Qatar with my brothers for the opening game against the USA. Now, this time Wales aren't there, but that's been true for most of my life, and it hasn't stopped me enjoying a World Cup before. And there is something about a World Cup over the Americas. The late kickoffs, the different stadiums, and games that don't sound very exciting until you suddenly find yourself fully invested. Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia, anyone? But that's in the World Cups. You never know which game's going to stick in the memory. One of my favourite ever late night World Cup games was Denmark against Uruguay back in Mexico in 1986. It didn't sound like a classic before kickoff, but little did we know how dazzling those Danes would be. They won 6-1, and for a short while they were everybody's favourite underdog team until they got thrashed in the next round. But that's the magic of the World Cup. The games you don't expect to love are the ones you often remember forever. And because I seem incapable of watching sport, or to be honest, doing anything without turning it into a little business lesson for one of these videos, here are 5 things that business owners can learn from a World Cup. So lesson 1, are you a manager or a head coach? Now, football management has changed over the years. It used to feel like the manager was this real kind of autocratic, authoritative figure shouting orders, expecting everyone to do exactly as they were told. But these days, the best managers are coaches. They develop players, they understand strengths and weaknesses. They create a system where people can perform. And that's also a great lesson for business owners. If your team needs you for every decision, you're not building a team, you're building dependency. Your job is to coach people, is to set standards, give feedback, and help them get better so the business can grow without everything landing back on your desk. Second lesson is vision, strategy, and tactics. Now, football teams need a plan. They need to know how they want to play. Are they pressing high, sitting deep, counter-attacking, playing through midfield? And businesses need the same clarity. I mean, first, it's about where you're actually heading. Do you want more sales, more profit, more cash, less stress, more time away from the business, or a business you can sell one day? Those are different goals, and they need different plans and different tactics. If you don't know what you want the business to give to you, it's very hard to make the right decisions on setting those strategy and those tactics. The third lesson is that complaining doesn't help. Now, every football match will have bad decisions, either with VAR or perhaps especially with VAR. There'll be moments when we all end up shouting at the television, shouting at the referee. But once the decision's made, the players still have to carry on. And again, it's exactly the same in business. We've all got lots of things to complain about, with the government, tax rates, HMRC, interest rates, customers, suppliers, competitors. Then the big wider things, still the effects of Brexit, the Ukraine war, the Iran war. And some days, you're right to complain, but complaining isn't going to change the score. You're better off asking, okay, we know what the situation is, but what can we do about it? What can we control? Forget about the things we can't and control the controllables and carry on. The fourth lesson is it's not over till it's over. I was in Istanbul back in 2005 when Liverpool came from 3-0 down at half-time to win the European Cup. I was also at Anfield in 2019 when we came back from a 3-0 first leg deficit against Barcelona and won 4-0 to go through and ultimately again win the European Cup. Now, I'm not saying that every problem can be solved by Divock Origi, although he can solve most of them, but the lesson stands, it's not over till it's over. Your business will have bad months, you'll lose customers, costs will rise, people will leave, mistakes will happen. But those moments don't have to define the final result if you respond properly, look at the numbers, learn what happened, make the change and keep moving. And linked to that really is the fifth lesson. It's the final result that matters. You probably remember who won the last World Cup. It was Argentina in a classic final. But do you remember their opening game? They lost 2-1 to Saudi Arabia in kind of a massive shock. And at that point, it would have been easy to write them off, even with Lionel Messi. But they reacted, they improved, they changed, and they went on to lift the trophy. And again, that's a brilliant business lesson. One bad month doesn't mean a bad business. One failed campaign doesn't mean that all your marketing's doomed. One difficult customer doesn't mean that your service is broken. What matters is how you adapt. You learn, you adjust, and you keep going. So as the World Cup kicks off, I'll obviously be watching for the football and probably pretending I'm not that interested because Wales aren't there. But as also, of course, be looking for some more business lessons. And the biggest one is that, know your score, know your plan, and don't panic if the first result goes against you. If you want help understanding your business scoreboard, or you want to know which numbers will drive your profit and cash in your business, please get in touch. Because Warren Buffett always says, if you don't know the score, you don't know who's winning or losing. So enjoy the football, and if you spot any good business lessons during the tournament, let me know, and I'll see you soon.